$1, not 1 million, not 1,000. $1. That is the asking price for a property that was once worth $1 billion. A building that stretched across 2 million square feet of American soil. A place where, on any given Saturday in the 1990s, over 50,000 people would walk through its doors. Today those doors don't open. The escalators haven't moved in years. The food court, that once had lines stretching 40 people deep, sits completely silent. Stores that generated millions in annual revenue are now hollow rooms collecting dust and rainwater. And the owners, they're not asking for their money back. They just want someone, anyone, to take it off their hands. This is the story of Rolling Acres Mall, and it is not just a story about one building in one city in one state. It is a story about the precise moment America stopped believing in something it had built, and what happens to everything left behind when that belief disappears. Akron, Ohio, 1975. The city is thriving, rubber manufacturing, tire production, an industrial economy humming at full capacity. The working families of Akron have money in their pockets and nowhere particularly exciting to spend it. Then came Rolling Acres, developed by the Edward J. DiBartolo Corporation, one of the most powerful mall developers in American history. Rolling Acres was not just a shopping center, it was a statement, a declaration that Akron had arrived, that its families deserved the same gleaming, air-conditioned, anchor store-anchored consumer paradise that was reshaping suburban America from coast to coast. The numbers were extraordinary from day one. 180 stores, 2 full-service department stores as anchors, a food court, a movie theater, a footprint so large that first-time visitors needed a map to navigate it. On opening weekend, people drove from 3 counties away just to see it. Within 5 years, Rolling Acres was generating over $1 billion in retail sales annually. It was the economic engine of its entire region. It was the place you took your kids on weekends, where teenagers spent their summers, where families measured time by the stores that opened and the restaurants that arrived. For nearly 2 decades, it was untouchable. But here's the thing about untouchable things. They are never actually untouchable. To understand what happened to Rolling Acres, you have to understand the machine it was part of. The American mall was not an organic invention. It was an engineered ecosystem, designed with near scientific precision to generate maximum dwell time and maximum spending per visitor. Every element was calculated. The anchor stores at opposite ends of the building forced you to walk past every smaller retailer to get from one to the other. The food court was placed strategically to intercept you when fatigue set in. The lighting, the temperature, the absence of clocks and windows, all of it deliberately constructed to make you lose track of time. It worked for 30 years. Rolling Acres worked specifically because it served a specific community at a specific moment in economic history. Its shoppers weren't abstract consumer demographics. They were Akron families, factory workers, and teachers and nurses who had limited options, disposable income, and a genuine appreciation for having everything they needed in one place. The mall understood its customer, and then, slowly, almost imperceptibly, the world around that customer began to change. The first sign was easy to miss. In the late 1990s, 2 of Rolling Acres' anchor tenants began showing strain, not collapse, just strain. Foot traffic numbers that had been flat for 2 consecutive years, lease negotiations that were slightly harder than they used to be, a general sense among retail analysts that the suburban megamall model was approaching saturation. Nobody in Akron was particularly worried. Rolling Acres was an institution. Institutions don't just disappear, except they do, and the mechanism by which they disappear is almost always the same. It starts with one anchor leaving. In 2002, Rolling Acres lost its first major anchor tenant. The store closed, citing declining sales. The space, enormous, central, impossible to ignore, sat empty. Now here is something most people don't understand about mall economics. Anchor stores don't just bring their own customers. They generate foot traffic for every single smaller retailer in the building. A family comes to the anchor, parks, walks in, and on the way, they pass 40 smaller stores. They browse, They buy things they didn't plan to buy. The anchor is the engine. The smaller stores are everything the engine powers. When the engine leaves, everything it powered begins to slow. Smaller retailers noticed the traffic drop immediately. Some renegotiated their leases downward. Others simply didn't renew. Each empty storefront made the mall feel slightly less worth visiting, which reduced foot traffic further, which made the remaining retailers less profitable, which caused more departures. This is what economists call a death spiral, but the people inside it rarely recognize it as a spiral. It feels from the inside like a temporary rough patch, like something that can be fixed with the right promotion or the right new tenant or the right renovation. Rolling Acres tried all three. None of it worked, because the problem wasn't internal. The problem was that an entirely new competitor had arrived, one that didn't have anchor stores, didn't need parking lots, and never closed. The internet, not immediately fatal, but permanently, irreversibly corrosive. Every category that had once required a mall trip, books, electronics, clothing, music, home goods, was now available from a couch. Not better in every case, not cheaper in every case, but convenient in a way that the mall, for all its engineered appeal, fundamentally could not match. And then, as if that wasn't enough, 2008 arrived. The financial crisis hit Akron like a demolition charge. Manufacturing jobs evaporated, unemployment spiked. The families who had been Rolling Acres' most loyal customers were suddenly making impossible choices between groceries and rent. Discretionary spending, the spending that kept a mall alive, collapsed almost overnight. Rolling Acres lost its second anchor tenant in 2008, then its third. By 2010, the mall that had once housed 180 stores was operating at less than 30% occupancy. The corridors that had once been impossible to walk quickly through, too crowded, too alive, were now eerily, unsettlingly empty. Security guards patrolled halls with no one to protect. Cleaning staff maintained floors no one walked on. The lights stayed on in empty stores because turning them off required lease modifications that the lawyers were still processing. The mall was spending money to maintain the appearance of a place that no longer existed. In 2013, Rolling Acres officially closed its doors. The building didn't come down, it just stopped. And then something happened that nobody had anticipated. Nature moved in. Within 2 years of closure, vegetation was pushing through the floor tiles of the food court. Trees were growing inside the building, actual trees, rooted in the debris that had accumulated where families once ate lunch. Birds nested in the rafters above stores that had sold shoes and jewelry and electronics. Photographers began making pilgrimages to document it. The images went viral repeatedly across multiple years, shared millions of times by people who had never been to Akron and had no connection to Rolling Acres. Because the images weren't really about a mall, they were about something much larger, the feeling that something permanent had turned out not to be, that the things we build confidently, the things we fill with noise and light and commerce and life, can be reclaimed by silence faster than we ever imagined possible. By 2017, the building was partially demolished. By 2019, the site was a wasteland of concrete and overgrowth, and the land it sat on, the 2 million square feet of American soil that had once generated $1 billion annually in retail sales. Listed for sale, $1. Why $1? Because the land came with obligations, environmental remediation, demolition costs for remaining structures, infrastructure repairs, tax liabilities accumulated across years of vacancy. The property wasn't worth $1. It was worth negative millions. The $1 was a legal formality, a transfer of ownership that was really a transfer of debt, of responsibility, of the problem of what you do with 2 million square feet of American failure. Nobody wanted it at any price. That is the real ending of Rolling Acres, not the closure, not the nature photographs, not even the demolition. The real ending is that when everything was stripped away, the anchor stores and the food court and the Saturday crowds and the $1 billion, what remained wasn't land. It was a bill. Rolling Acres is not unique. There are over 1,000 dead or dying malls currently scattered across America. Some are being converted. Most are just waiting. The machine that built them is gone. The economy that fed them has shifted irrevocably, and the communities that depended on them for jobs, for gathering, for the simple comfort of a shared public space are still waiting for something to replace what disappeared. Nothing has. Not yet. This is Pocompo. Every collapse has a cause. We find it. The next empire is already cracking. Subscribe, and we'll show you exactly where.